Welcome to Go All In Show on ABC 15, brought to you by Go All In Media. I am your host, Nim Stant. Go All In Show provide the best life transformational stories that will help inspire and improve your personal growth from mind, body, soul, entrepreneurship, and work productivities. Are you ready to go all in to achieve your dream today? Let's go! I'm just a regular person like you who is trying to walk every day of my life with a great intention. Why are you letting your fears keeping you from your destiny? I am a big believer that the moment you decide to go all in, your journey begins. I came from the third world country of Thailand, from the lower middle class family. Didn't have any MBA, didn't go to any business school. When you allow yourself to commit to your goals, and you fail, you're showing the strength, not the weakness. I was a yoga teacher teaching 5 to 6 different studios a day. Didn't even have time to have dinner with my kids. I was so depressed. Couldn't even pay bills. Had a lot of debts. I was stuck. So at that moment when I feel sick and tired of being sick and tired, I start to take the action. When you allow yourself to go all in, the world starts to behave differently. And that moment has totally changed what I think, changed the energy inside me. So I'm gonna teach you how to retrain your mind and your body for success. It's time to start now, and we will show you how in this Go All In TV course. Welcome to Go All In TV here on ABC 15. My name is Nim Stant. I'm your host, and today I'm super pumped, super excited. We have our special guest here with us, Heidi Leatherwood, co-author of the bestseller book You Were Made to Be Unstoppable, speaker, and also a cancer survivor. Heidi, thank you so much for being here with us. How are you doing?
Aw, I'm doing good. Thank you so much for having me on your show, Nim. I really appreciate it.
Oh, wonderful. It's my honor to be here with you. Now, there's so many things going on with you. I mean, not just the COVID, but there's something that really probably life-changing.
Yeah, so last year, I know it was really heart-changing for everybody to deal with the COVID, but I was diagnosed with stage 2 breast cancer in last February. And so what that meant was a whole year of treatment, chemo, losing my hair, radiation, surgery, the whole 9 yards.
Okay, so can we go back and track the story back a little bit? What made you go to the hospital? You go to the hospital, you found out
Right.
What happened?
Great question. So I was changing jobs and I had a little bit of free time, about a week or so in between jobs. So I decided that I would just do some wellness checks. Okay. And went in for a mammogram, and they started finding something, which in my family, I don't run any genetic risk of cancer. So finding something made me think that they had the wrong person. But upon closer inspection with a biopsy, we found that all of a sudden I had this stage 2 cancer and needed to deal with it. So it was really shocking. I had to continue working the whole time while I was going through chemo. And in chemo, because of COVID, no one could go with me. So I really had to dig down and find some inner strength inside to deal with the chemo treatments, to deal with the loss of hair, the changes to my body, the surgery that, left me kind of like with some asymmetrical body parts. And so, just to learn how to deal with all of that was really a struggle for me.
So what in your mind, your head, when the doctor tell you have stage 2 cancer, like what's going on in here?
Right. That is a good question. And, that's where you actually need another person with you, I will tell you. Because when the doctor...
And you were alone.
I was alone, yeah.
In the hospital room with the doctor.
Exactly. So they had just done a super duper ultrasound of something, and he had a concern. And so he sat down with me, just like you're sitting with me, and he said, Heidi, you have cancer. And I couldn't...
And you smile?
Because I think he does it every day. I don't think he meant to, but he just was just like, Heidi, you have cancer. And so here's the facts, this is what you'll be doing. And it was such a shock to me. I think that you kind of need somebody else there with you, because I didn't hear another word he said after he said you had stage 2 breast cancer.
Really? Because
the whole world just stopped at that moment. I could not imagine the things that I would have to do, and just thinking that my whole life was now a big question mark. So.
Were you mad, sad, scared, or what was that?
I was all of them.
Really?
Yeah. So I think the mad fits in really good, because I have all these plans for my life. I just have a new job. I want to make a good impression. I've only been there 2 days before I found out. I didn't know they're going to fire me. They're going to get rid of me. I don't know, but they embraced me like such a good family. And, what I found is that I just fell into a whole group of people that would just put their arms around me. Yeah, so even though they couldn't physically be there, they sent me letters and food and, just always hugs, virtual hugs. They would Skype me, they would FaceTime me, and that's what kept me going.
So you have cancer, and then you continue working from home
Yes.
during COVID.
Yes.
I don't know how you can do that.
Yeah.
So the topic today is about how to create your own life architect. You are your own life architect.
Yes.
What does it mean, or what does it mean for you?
I love that question because, Viktor Frankl says something that I really love. Okay. He was the one who endured the Nazi concentration camps, and yet he envisioned himself inside of that. He envisioned himself what he would be doing afterwards. So he had a determination and a will to be able to make it through such horrible atrocities, and yet visioned himself teaching in a college afterwards. And he did. He made it. And so he came to the realization that the last of the human freedoms is to be able to choose in any moment your given attitude. And I think that helped me realize that even though this seemed bad at the moment and it was terrible and I didn't feel good and I was still having to go to work and sometimes my brain was foggy, and I felt sorry for myself a lot because I felt lost and I felt angry that nobody asked me that if it was okay for me to have cancer. Nobody gave, I didn't have a choice. But
you feel like they don't know how to act?
Yes, I do. And I feel
they probably don't know how to, they don't want to say something offended you, and they want to support you.
Yes.
But there's no education about this, right?
Right, there's not. And people don't know if you want to talk about it or not. Right. They don't know if it's okay.
Right.
And they kind of want to dismiss it because they don't want to hurt your feelings. But I was very open about it. I was open. I told my whole work, I told everybody, I told them, look, I want to be somebody who's out in the open about the cancer. Because
what
it
made
was
you want to be?
Probably because when I grew up, it was just like a shy little girl. And I said, I don't want to sit in the shadows anymore. I want to be out in the open. I want to, because this is a real life human experience. And I believe, and this is going to come into a lot of like my beliefs, I believe that as we're going through human experiences, they are only opportunities for us to create a greater awakening and a greater consciousness to our higher self. So that's what I tried to use this for. Now, there were moments where I was sad and crying and, in despair and confusion and mad and angry and all those things, but I always believed I would find something. I would find that hope so that I could pull myself out of it.
So Heidi, did the doctor tell you that you're going to be survive, or you're going to, you have whatever month left?
Right. So that's a great question. I think the minute you hear the C word, which is the cancer word,
Sure.
you immediately go to, am I going to live or am I going to die?
Right.
But I will tell you that they've made so many advancements right now in breast cancer that my prognosis was very good. So he said that you should have no problem. You'll just have to go through the stages, which was the chemo, the radiation, the surgery.
It's still a lot, right?
It's still a lot, yes. And they always kind of like hinge and say, well, it depends on what more we find. But at that moment, it was stage 2. So.
I mean, there's no guarantee or anything, but they just give you information.
Yes. Yeah.
Right.
But like I said, my prognosis was very good. They were very sure that they could cure this and that I would have a life afterwards and hope that it doesn't come back.
You know, what I hear you, they said you're going to have the life afterwards. So what does it look like then?
Right.
What does it do inside you?
So I have to tell you that what I learned, a big thing that I learned in this journey, was that there is a difference between how I perceive myself and my body and my spirit that is inside, my being. So one thing that I learned is this body, will age. The body will deteriorate to some degree. It can get disease, all these different things. But my being inside cannot be touched. The being inside stays strong, and the being inside, if I become more awake, then it actually can be a bigger part of my life.
Heidi, I talked to you before, and we have a wonderful conversation, and we share, and I said, we are here as a soul. We're just renting our body, our human body, for the human experience.
Yes.
And you mentioned that you love the concept of you are your own life architect. When you found out though that you have cancer and you have to go through each stage, right? How does it work with the concept of trust and letting go?
That's a good question. So what I've learned is that, first of all, you have to get over the fear.
Really?
Because once you hear the word cancer, there's just all this terror that fills your mind. At least for me it was. Because just how many questions? How long will I live? I can make it, but will it come back? Will I have a shortened life?
Right.
There's so many things that I haven't done yet.
Right.
What will I do? How will people see me? I don't want cancer to be identifiable with me. You find yourself wanting to like separate this and get confused in all of this. But I think what I learned is that you're right about the letting go. I had to let go about this image of myself. I had to let go about the image of who I wanted to be aesthetically, but also begin to love myself how I am. And that was a hard journey because, you look in the mirror and you don't look the same. You're bald. You don't have eyelashes. You don't have eyebrows anymore. I used to draw a picture for my daughter. I said, this is what I look like. And she'd be on the way out. Oh, Mom, I don't have time for you to draw a picture. I said, no, it'll just take a second. And I draw 2 little eyeballs and like a little round face. And I said, that's what I look like. And she said, Mom. But that's how you feel, because you feel that these things have been taken away from you. And people can tell you, oh, you look fine without hair. But it doesn't feel fine.
Right.
Yeah. It doesn't feel fine. No.
Yeah. No, thanks for sharing. Seriously. Yeah. I know it probably not the most fun things to share and exciting thing to share. But I also know that you're working on writing the book right now. And what is the book about?
So I'm really excited about this project that I'm working on. So my book is about finding value in dark, hard situations. And I use the analogy of finding or mining, extracting diamonds out of your hard experiences. And the reason I like to use the metaphor of diamonds is because they're sparkly, which I love sparkly things, and they're a symbol of endurance. They are very hard. They're the hardest natural substance that we have. It takes another diamond to cut another diamond. The illuminance of the light that refracts when they're cut, and their value of that they're rare.
Okay.
And so what I like to think is when you go through a human experience, then it is always to enlighten you to a higher stage of consciousness. And my symbol of the higher stages of consciousness is collecting these diamonds.
Wow.
And so through my experiences, if you dig, you dig in the darkness, because diamonds aren't found just in, they're laying on the ground. No, they're in deep, dark caverns, and they're in hard places, and they have to be picked out, and then they have to be shined, and they have to be polished. And I think it's like when we go through a hard experience or a good experience, it creates a space, and that's why we feel a loss. Because there's a space that's created. And so in my book, I talk about 4 areas that were kind of dark for me, but they created a space.
What is the 4 areas?
Yes. The 4 areas are going to be divorce. I talk about that. I talk about depression. And I talk about death. And then I also talk about disease.
Wow.
And so these were things that I went through last year.
Sure.
And, well, most of them last year. And just were able to extract some value from going through them.
What's your goal from this book?
My goal is that anybody out there who kind of needs a virtual handhold through some dark times in their life, I want to be that person.
Wow.
I want them to read my book and not think, oh my gosh, but to think, look, if she did it, I can do it too. So even if I'm alone, even if I'm by myself, even if I'm having to work while not feeling good or I don't look the best that I want to be, I can still make it. And, there's something else waiting for me on down the road.
But the reader doesn't only have to be related to cancer survivor, right?
No.
It can be any, especially you write for a woman?
Yes.
Yeah.
But it could also be a man too, because we all experience these human experiences, regardless of our race, regardless of our gender, regardless of our social status. I mean, disease, I've learned that it can hit anybody. Yeah. And divorce is the same thing, depression, and even death. We will all experience these things in some form or fashion, throughout our lives. So.
Wow. So what is the 3 pieces of advice that you want to give to our viewer right now in terms of finding the diamond in the darkness?
Yeah. So I would say that the 3 pieces of advice that I would give to them would be, number 1, we're all walking the human experience. Everything that happens to us, we don't know at that moment whether it is going to be good or to be bad. Right? And we can only take it from our perception of things. And so that is the one, we're realizing that we're human walking through this human existence.
I love it.
The second,
I use it every day
too.
Oh,
very good, yeah. So, and then the second thing is that everything that happens to us is a place and an opportunity for us to awaken the being inside of us and to realize that we are more than this human body, we're more than the thoughts in our mind. We are this soul being that is beautiful and perfect in its creation. And the third thing I would say, that in these opportunities, if we dig hard enough, if we look long enough, and if we, extract and pick out, we can find the value in those experiences to be able to carry us through to the next one.
I cannot wait to read your So, that's so cool. Do you have your favorite quote that you use, your lesson that you would love to share with our audience?
So I like to read a lot of things that help awaken my mind, awaken my soul. And so I read a lot of different things, but I think one of the favorite quotes that I have comes from Eckhart Tolle, and he says in one of them that death is the stripping away of all that is not us. And if
say again.
Yeah, death is stripping away of everything that is not us. So, and to finish it off, he says that the secret is to learn to die before we die and learn that there is no death. And I think that has become really apparent in my life, through this struggle and through all of this journey that I've taken, because I realized that if I can strip away this feeling of that I have to look perfect, or strip away this feeling that I have to be this or I have to be that, and learn to just love the being that is inside of me, then when this body or this shell lays down in the ground and is gone no more, my being takes flight. And there really is no death.
Right.
There really is just a transformation.
Transformation. That's so true.
Yeah.
Wow, Heidi.
So.
Wow. I love it. I'm just like breathe with it right now.
Yeah.
I love it so much. Thank you for sharing. So Heidi, what is your new exciting project that you're working on right now?
Well, I got this great book that's coming out where I'll be sharing what we talked about, and that should be coming out in actually just a few months.
That's wonderful. I'm so excited. So how can our viewer reach out to you? How can they find you?
Right. Well, it should be pretty simple. I'm having my new website come out, and it should be just HeidiLeatherwood.com.
Awesome. HeidiLeatherwood.com. Reach out to Heidi and learn from her, and allowing her to bring you to the deeper experience of your soul, right? And I just love how you share about, we just hear human body gonna be gone. We all know we all going to be, right?
Right.
But the soul continue to live.
Exactly.
Heidi, thank you so much for sharing with us in this Go All In TV show, and we are beyond thankful that you're here with us in our studio and sharing with our audience. Thank you so much, Heidi.
Thank you for having me here. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for watching Go All In show here on ABC 15. If you have a story that you know it will impact more people, and if you have a dream to write a book and become a #1 best-selling author, we would love to connect with you. Reach out to us here at info@goallin.tv, or check out our Rockstar Academy bestseller intensive program at nimstant.com/the Rockstar Academy. You have the message to share, and the world needs your knowledge now more than ever. We are here to help you gain more credibility, wow your audience, and amplify your result within just 90 days. Join us at the Rockstar Academy today at nimstant.com/the Rockstar Academy. Stop calling it a dream. It's time to call it a plan. It's your turn to share your story to the world and become the #1 best-selling author. I will see you here at Go All In show next time. So I just want to share with you something. This is the concept, okay? So let go now or fall. When I was practicing yoga, I was standing, keep my feet apart, and then my hands on my chest right here, and then I have to lean back, just do the back bending. And then my teacher started to grab my hand and to lead my hand to grab my calf muscle. And I just yelled at him and said, "No, I'm not doing it. My back is hurting and it's going to break." And my teacher, my yoga teacher, calmly, he whispered to me and he said, "Trust, surrender, and let go." And at that very moment, he became my guru, and his name is Tim Fletman. He grabbed my hands and led me to grab, use the hand, grab my ankle. I don't know if you can imagine that with me in the back bending series in Ashtanga Yoga. And during that morning yoga practice, I was totally surrender and let go of all my desire, all my attachment, all my fear and everything, because I could feel the energy just like just flow into my body. And that's how you feel when you letting it go. So the concept of letting it go is called surrender. For many of us, letting it go can be very difficult to understand and even harder to practice. It might build upon the deep understanding that by doing our part, God provides the rest. And it is a lifelong practice. Letting go means standing in the middle of all the confusion, all the noise, but instead of shrinking away, being absolutely present to ourselves and to all that is. One of the best things to release is whatever old story you attach. I'm not good enough. I was born in the wrong time, in the wrong family. So letting go of that, letting go of whatever you have hold on to it. And when you surrender, you get out of your own way long enough to experience another perspective, and enlightening one. One way to experience enlightenment is to radically shift our perspective from looking outside ourselves to looking inside ourselves. And it's not our job to change and control the thing anyway, right? So we are called to work on ourselves. Why we here on earth? Because we call to experience the enlightenment, and we are, experience the change that happened to us. And it's simply through is when we give up the thing that is not serve us anymore. When we open to this enlightened perspective, we finally see things as they really are. And when we love ourselves and love others without any expectation, we practice surrender, and we surrender, and the surrender become the greatest act of love that we can have. I want to invite you guys to practice this, letting go, trust, and surrender in each of every step of your day, in each of every hour, every conversation that you have. We don't need to stand in our way. Just let go and trust, surrender. So when you want something that you never have, you must do something that you never done to get it. Okay, let me repeat again. When you want something you never had, you must do something you never done to get it. Otherwise, you will keep getting the same result. Changes to our life always begin with changes we are willing to make personally. So it's never going to be easy, but to get ourselves over the hump, and we need to remember that change is personal, change is possible, change is profitable. Achieving your goals require making changes. When we no longer change our situation, we're challenged to change ourselves. And here's a good question to ask yourself. When it's come to growth and success, the first question is, am I willing to give up the fast life for a good life? Am I willing to give up security for significance? Am I willing to give up addition for multiplication? Write your personal answer in your journal, and then remember to revisit your journal and read your answer every day as often as you can, so you can train your mind and achieving your goal.